Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a really critical situation. It's about the current status of Iran's nuclear program, especially after these recent strikes.
Right, and we've got two very different stories emerging, which is where things get interesting.
Exactly. So our sources are presenting these clashing pictures, our mission today, to help you understand what these, well, contrasting viewpoints might reveal about the real impact on the ground.
Yeah, it's a classic situation, really. You've got, on one hand, U.S. officials making some pretty strong claims.
Strong how?
They're saying these strikes on key Iranian nuclear sites have, and this is the word they used, devastated the program.
Devastated. That's a powerful word. Suggests it's basically finished, right?
It definitely implies a massive setback, maybe even a complete halt. Paints a very clear picture.
Okay, but here's where our deep dive gets fascinating. We have independent experts.
The ones looking at satellite photos?
Precisely. Experts analyzing publicly available commercial satellite imagery. And they're painting a vastly different picture.
What are they saying?
They're suggesting Iran's, long-running nuclear enterprise is actually far from destroyed.
Far from destroyed. Okay, that's quite the contrast with devastated.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, what specific evidence are these independent folks using? How are they challenging such a strong official claim?
Well, the key thing here is where their information comes from. It's not based on, say, anonymous government briefings.
Right.
They're looking closely at commercial satellite images, stuff that, anyone with the right tools and expertise can actually scrutinize.
So it's verifiable in a way.
Exactly. Unlike political statements, this is visual data. It offers a lens that can sometimes bypass the, let's say, filters of official narratives.
And when they look through that lens at the damage...
They see that certain important elements seem to be, well, intact, still there.
Okay, so that's the core of it.
Yeah.
Official claims of devastation versus this detailed, verifiable analysis suggesting, nope, the program's far from over. This immediately makes you question the true effectiveness, the real scope of these strikes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It forces you to ask, what exactly are these experts saying wasn't hit? What's survived?
And do they get specific?
They do. Jeffrey Lewis, for instance, he's a professor, well-known expert from the Middlebury Institute, tracks these facilities very closely.
Right, I know his work.
He puts it quite starkly. He notes that, yes, some targets were clearly hit, some damage is visible, but, and this is his quote, there are some really important things that haven't been hit.
Really important things that haven't been hit.
Mm.
Wow. That just completely reframes the narrative from devastated.
It absolutely does.
So what does that imply, strategically speaking, about the goals or maybe the success of the strikes?
Well, it suggests, potentially, a strategic incompleteness. Lewis actually goes on to say, if this ends here, it's a really incomplete strike.
Incomplete.
Yeah. So this isn't just about counting damaged buildings. It's about hitting the critical nodes. Did they achieve the strategic objective?
And if these important things weren't hit,
Then, according to these independent assessments, the critical components needed to, potentially continue the program might very well still be operational.
so it shifts the focus. Less about just destruction, more about the actual strategic impact. Did the strikes achieve their intended goal?
Precisely.
Okay, so let's distill this for you, the listener. You're faced with this stark contrast. On one side, the U.S. official stance, Iran's nuclear program, devastated. On the other side, independent experts using concrete satellite imagery. Their view, the program is far from destroyed.
Right. And crucially, they add that really important things seem to have been left untouched.
This whole deep dive, it really underscores the value of, well, independent verification, doesn't it?
Immense value. It's not necessarily about immediately discrediting one side or the other. It's about encouraging you to seek out multiple sources.
And to understand the methods. How do they know what they claim to know?
Exactly. Understand the methodologies behind the claims. It pushes you toward a more nuanced perspective, something beyond just the simple headlines.
Right. Which brings us to a final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider. When you encounter situations like this one, with such directly opposing reports, one coming from officials, the other from independent experts, using verifiable data like satellite images,
Yeah.
what specific questions should you be asking yourself to really try and understand what's going on?
How do you cut through the noise?
Yeah. How do you, as someone trying to stay informed, figure out what might be closer to the reality on the ground when the narratives are just so different?
That's the critical thinking challenge, isn't it?
It is. We hope this deep dive helps you start asking those kinds of critical questions.